It's good to be with you again. Let me tell you what I've been thinking these days. I believe the last time I was with you, I was thinking about some things in the book of the prophet Isaiah, and I still am. This means that I've been reading in the book of Isaiah quite often in my morning devotions over the past period of time. This morning I came upon a passage that has been a favorite of mine for a very long while. I remember preaching from this text in the first church that I pastored. That would be longer ago than I want to tell you, but it was a long while ago for sure. Listen to these words, slightly different in this translation from the one that I remember from so long ago, but this is the one I'm reading these days. In chapter 51 of Isaiah, think of the rock you were quarried from, of the hidden depths whence you came, of Abraham that begot you, of Sarah that was your mother. He was a childless man when I called him, and blessed him, and granted him a posterity. That's the story of heritage for the children of Israel. The children of Israel, therefore, were warned, no, not exactly that, encouraged to remember, as the King James translation, I think, put it, the rock from which you've been quarried, the pit from which you've been digged. They would remember where they came from. That's a valuable thing for all of us. In the case of the nation of Israel, it was to remember their heritage in Abraham and Sarah. It was a heritage for them of miracles. Abraham and Sarah, before being called by God and blessed by God in their call, were people far beyond the possibility of bearing children. God said, however, that they would, and they did. The prophet now reminds these people in his generation to remember that this is their heritage. And of course, the inference to be drawn is very clear. If your heritage is to be born out of a miracle, to come to existence out of a barren place, a hopeless situation, then you can know that in your day, you too can still be productive, redeemed, effective beyond your dreams. If God did it long ago in your heritage for Abraham and Sarah, God can do it still for you. I preached on this text twice, I think, at a camp meeting in Tennessee where I have preached off and on for well over 40 years. It's a camp meeting that has its roots in one family, the family descendants of a man named Taylor, who migrated from Virginia all the way out to Tennessee, established a camp meeting the first summer that he lived there, and they've had a camp meeting every summer since. The people who are the ones carrying on that camp meeting, though people come from everywhere and of every heritage and background, but the people whose camp meeting is their own are descendants in some way of Howell Taylor. I wanted to tell them, therefore, remember the rock from which you were hewn. Remember where you came from, and to tell them that it is a great thing to have a heritage like that. Now, how does that apply to you and to me? Well, I suspect it's very possible that you and I might have very different feelings about this depending on who you are. I have to know, when I look back on my heritage, that I've been privileged to be hewn from a rock of believers. I'm so grateful for that. I didn't deserve it. I was simply born into that family. So I look back on that rock and say, thank God for such a heritage. It's possible you were born from a heritage of non-believers, maybe of agnostics or atheists. For you, therefore, it is not a matter of saying, what a wonderful background I had spiritually. Rather, you can say, what a miracle it is that God got through to me, that God redeemed me when the heritage from which I came was so bad. The rock from which I was hewn was not a promising one, but that doesn't handicap or limit God. All of us, too, can look back simply on the past years of our lives and say, as we look back on those years, what is the rock? What is the place from which I have come, and where am I today? I ask you to consider that. Where did you come from as you look back over the years? What has God been doing in your life? What is there still that God could do with the start God already has with you? Remember the rock from which you have come, the pit from which you have been hewn, and know that the God of miracles, the God of faithfulness, is working still in your life, still today. That's what I've been thinking about. God bless you.